Before there was a Dutch golden age, before Rembrandt or windmills or global trade ... there was war. A long, brutal, revolutionary war. This is the story of how a fragmented group of provinces defied a global empire. This is the 80 Years' War. Today, we're going deep into dynastic power, religious rebellion, guerrilla warfare, and the birth of a modern republic. This isn't just Dutch history. It's a crucible of the modern world. In the mid-16th century, the 17 provinces, what is now the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg were under the rule of the Spanish crown, part of the vast Habsburg Empire. The issues were manifold: economic exploitation, loss of local autonomy, and perhaps most inflammatory, religion. Charles V had ruled them as a native-born Burgundian. But when he abdicated in 1556, his son Philip II inherited the provinces and ruled them from Madrid. To the Dutch, Philip was a foreign king imposing foreign rule. The Reformation swept into the Low Countries early. Lutheranism, Calvinism, and Anabaptism all gained ground, despite Spain's staunch Catholicism. The arrival of the Duke of Alva in 1567 ushered in the Council of Troubles, or as the Dutch called it, the Council of Blood. Philip II responded with the Inquisition, a wave of heresy trials, and appointed the iron-fisted Cardinal Granvelle and the Duke of Alva to crack down. In 1566, Protestant mobs began destroying Catholic icons in a wave known as the Beeldenstorm. Philip's response? Brutal repression. Yet the religious divide deepened. Catholics were massacred in some towns, fueling sectarian violence. William of Orange, once a loyal noble, became the leader of resistance. Over 7,000 civilians were killed. Even Catholic provinces were horrified. He wasn't a radical Calvinist. He believed in religious toleration, a rare view at the time. The North, increasingly Calvinist, pressed for full independence. This surprise victory sparked a wave of uprisings across Holland and Zeeland. This act of abjuration was Europe's first modern declaration of independence. Enter Maurice of Nassau, William's son, and one of history's most underrated military geniuses. In 1568, he launched an invasion from Germany. It failed militarily, but it marked the official start of the 80 Years' War. He didn't just win battles, he changed how wars were fought. Meanwhile, Spain fought multiple fronts against Ottomans, English, and eventually in Portugal. He introduced systematic drill, geometric fortifications, and logistical precision hallmarks of the military revolution in early modern Europe. The struggle evolved from rebellion into revolution. The goal wasn't just religious freedom, it became full political independence. The Dutch held firm, even as Spain tried to regain control. In 1572, a group of Calvinist privateers known as the Watergeuzen, or Sea Beggars, captured the port town of Briel. The Dutch Republic was born sovereign, prosperous, and powerful. This wasn't just rebellion. It was the birth of a republic in a monarchic world. Cities joined the revolt, not out of loyalty to William, but in hatred of Spanish tyranny. This marked a point of no return. The Dutch revolt was now national, urban, and revolutionary. In 1576, unpaid Spanish troops sacked Antwerp in the infamous Spanish Fury. This led to the pacification of Ghent, a temporary alliance between northern and southern provinces, Protestant and Catholic, united against Spanish occupation. But unity didn't last. Religious tensions tore the alliance apart. The south drifted back toward Spain. In 1581, the rebellious provinces formally declared they no longer recognized Philip II as their sovereign. No king, no empire. The Dutch would govern themselves, but independence wasn't guaranteed. Spanish forces still held much of the land. Maurice, with advisor Johan van Oldenbarnevelt, professionalized the Dutch military. His campaigns from the 1590s turned the tide. Town after town was retaken. The war expanded. England, under Elizabeth I, sent troops. France supported the Dutch at times. By 1602, the Dutch created the VOC, the Dutch East India Company, to fund their war and expand overseas. While Spain struggled, the Dutch built an empire. In 1609, a truce was signed, the 12 Years' Truce, but fighting would soon resume. The war's final phase overlapped with the 30 Years' War, a continent-wide conflict. Finally, in 1648, at the Peace of Westphalia, Spain formally recognized Dutch independence. It had taken 80 years, thousands of lives, and a global war to get there. The 80 Years' War wasn't just a war for independence. It was a laboratory for ideas, tolerance, republicanism, capitalism, and national identity. The Dutch Republic became a beacon of the Enlightenment, finance, trade, and science, all born from rebellion. It reminds us that nations are not born from peace, but from struggle, principle, and perseverance. Thanks for diving deep with us. For more history in plain English, subscribe and tell us, what moment in history do you want us to unpack next?